for another great night. Our first traveled down to the site on the program, and he is a talented one at that. In fact, one of the last times I joined, he was here as with us as well. Glad to welcome him back again. He just got done performing a great Northeast staple, the Cafe at the Mill, last night in Millbury, Massachusetts, along with his good friend Rich, see if I can say that fast, Rich O'Reilly. Yes, he has been performing, writing music for over 40 years. He has shared the stage or produced local, regional, and national artists, including who's who list of names. We're talking about Third Day's Mark Lee, Michael Sweet, of course, from Striper, Evie Haskell, Mitch McVicker, Sean Colvin, for crying out loud. That's it. Sunny Came Home. Remember her? Steve Camp, Raging Grace, Don Francisco, so many more. His CD Under the Surface resulted in his first tour to Ireland in 2003. Cutting Edge magazine once quoted, "This is music that you can sit by the fire with or start fires with." Singer-songwriter and producer J.J. Blair wrote, "He has a full-bodied musical and spiritual vision in what he does." Please welcome the very multi-talented Sam Bowen to the show here on Red Zoom. Sam, good evening, sir. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. I'm good. Thanks for reminding me of all that stuff. I'd almost forgotten about it. Gee, it's like, really?
It's like, I've done all that, huh? What?
Good. It's a nice night out here in Massachusetts. It's a little chilly. And I
Oh,
love the Christmas decorations behind you.
oh, I
I
thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. You gotta keep the spirit going behind me there. Yes, and Boston is a terrific area this time of year. It's starting to finally get chilly in your neck of the woods. Winter's finally showing up. I've been there about a half a dozen times over this last uh, year plus, it seems like. So just love your area up there. The community up there has almost been like a second home to me. First, before we get going, tell us about that performance you had last night at the Cafe at the Mill. I'm very familiar with that venue. I'm very familiar with Stu, with your good friend Rich O'Reilly. How was that show for
Great
you the other
night.
night?
Of course, we love Stu and Lucille Rideout, who run the Cafe at the Mill, and the Cafe Church at the Mill, who hosts it. It's a wonderful venue. If anyone comes out the East Coast, that's where you want to do your thing. It was wonderful. I've been playing out there for years, so people come out, and Rich O'Reilly and I do a songwriter in the round. So he does a song, I do a song, and he's a Delta blues guy. Plays that resonator as well as his Taylor, and does a Delta blues style of music. And then I've got my style of music, and so it's really entertaining, and we share stories. We're both old enough between the two of us to have stories, so we share them. And it was just such a great night. It really was. We had such a great time.
It looked like, just based on the stream the other night, it looks like you did have great fun the other night. We've been out there several times doing CMS remotes at the Cafe de Mille, just a great venue that they run out there in the Northeast. Tell us what the first song you're going to be doing for us here tonight, Sam, is.
Okay, the first song is off of Bleeding Daylight, released November 2020. There it is, and I'm so thankful how well this CD is done, and the streaming. And I keep telling people, if you don't like the CD, it makes a great coaster. Of course, this festive time of year makes a great. And it's
There you go.
free, the CD. Uh, but it's done well, this whole CD, and this is a song off it called "The Underground," and it's a song about the church, because the church is people. The church isn't a building, and the church is always, well, at least to me, will always be underground. Us. It's us. It's people, and it'll never really be mainstream, in my opinion. So that's basically what this is about. You ready?
Yes, indeed. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna do it. Won't get you a star on Hollywood Boulevard. if you're doing it right. You won't mind if you're last in line, if you're doing it right. If you can't keep your eyes off the satellites, don't let your left hand talk to the right. If you want to get rich in the things that don't count, come to the underground. The underground. You have no use for the latest trends if you're doing it right. You drink wine on Sunday mornings, if you're doing it right. Jesus plus 12 heeded the call to or more is all you need after all. Sinners, everyone, heaven bound. In the underground. Love is drawn from a deeper well. All began with one rebel yell. Every moment on a wing and a prayer. In the underground. 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 And there you go.
Yes, the underground right here on Red's Room tonight here on this Saturday night. Nice to have him joining us. Any news of note that you have going on for the rest of the year? And as we wind our way towards the end of this holiday season and looking ahead into 22, any exciting stuff down the road for you?
Well, over the basically last night was my last live gig for the year, and tonight, of course, live stream. I have started recording again as of about a week ago to 2 weeks ago. I've been in and out of the studio, and I'm recording a Christmas album, which will be out next year, and I'm very excited about that. I'm going to do a couple Christmas instrumentals, some original Christmas stuff, some covers I love, guitar bass with a full band. I'm going to have some friends of mine sing on it, like Mitch McVicker, and I've got Mike Rowe of the 77s lined up. Cat Stewart, who sang on my album Bleeding Daylight, and we've sang together, and just love her voice. I'm excited about that and recording some other music. So that's really big to me. Getting back in the studio and getting into that whole rigmarole of laying down tracks and working through songs. For a musician who's wired to do that, that's pretty big.
After all these years, do you still find the same amount of joy getting into the studio and laying down tracks and all this stuff after all these years? Is it still a huge joy and a blessing for you?
It's huge. You go in the studio and you can just lay it down till you get it right. And when you find people like my producer Bob Everett of Abraham's Closet, we've been working together for years. He toured Ireland with me, and he's a great producer and engineer. And he just lets me go off, and then we arrange things together. And I take people in the studio I've been working with for years. My drummer and bass player, and some of Bob's studio guys, and again, Cat Stewart. Uh, yeah, it's a real. I get the songs ready and have an idea where I want to go, and I go in and start recording them. And I'm a blues guy, right? An old rock guy and a blues guy, so it's live a lot of it. If I go in with a rhythm section, bass, drums, and guitar, we do it live, and then we do overdubs after that. But the foundation of stuff is, for me, it's live. You lay down the guitar and you do very little what they call compositing. You try to get it right. Maybe a little tweaking here and there, and it's neat because it's just a really cool creative process. You'd be surprised. You can go in the studio and 10 hours has passed and you don't even feel it.
And I've been in Bob's little upstairs studio there, Abraham's Closet, a great dude.
Oh,
And as a matter of fact, last December at the end of the year, we actually, with April and with Kat, we recorded our year-end top 20 countdown from Abraham's Closet. Yes, we did last December. So great guy over there. So great musical community out there in the Northeast for sure. What was that? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. What's the next number you got for us here tonight there, Sam?
okay, this is called Built to Last. I actually wrote this song about, it's hard to fathom, 30 years ago. And
Oh,
really, it could have been written by a much older person 30 years ago. And now when I sing it, it's like really hits me because it's Joe, the older you get, the more experiences you put under your belt, the more you can realize
mhm.
God's grace and the Spirit being intently, in your midst, His grace, and realizing just, how much the love and depth and breadth of God's love has infiltrated your life. Uh, every year you add on to that, and this is one of those songs. You know, as Joseph talked about, those experiences and looking back on it and realizing, you know, the grace of God in your life. It's called Built to Last.
Mm.
Here we go.
Built to last, Sam Bowen here in Red's Room.
Maybe it's the years I've lived or mistakes I've made, but anything that's built to last takes time to make. Whether it's wood or stone or the painter's paint, even the human heart can be shaped like clay. Commitment made, foundation laid, stone by stone, day by day. Just like the artist with his brush in hand, so does God in the heart of man. We travel into the future each day we wake. This journey is a walk in the dark with each step we take. You gotta keep your hand to the plow and your pathway straight. To keep from walking blind is to see through the eyes of faith. Commitment made, foundation laid. stone by stone, day by day. Just like the farmer's plow, breaking the ground apart, so does the Spirit deep within our hearts. So does the Spirit deep within our hearts. Commitment made, foundation laid, stone by stone, day by day. Just like the farmer's plow, breaking the ground apart, so does the Spirit deep within our hearts. So does the Spirit deep within our hearts. Maybe it's the years I've lived, there you go.
Amen. That is Sam Bowen right here on Red's Room here tonight. What now? You've been at this for a number of years now. We've been asking different artists this all night long. What is your biggest piece of advice you tend to give to songwriters?
Oh my. Oh. Biggest piece of advice I can give to songwriters: give up. No, no, because that's the way I feel a lot when I'm writing a song. This isn't good. I'm just gonna give up. You gotta laugh, Joe. You know. Seriously, though, if it's possible.
So it's okay. I needed that laugh. Thank you. I can just picture that quote going viral now. Sam Bowen tells songwriters everywhere, give up.
My job difficult. Okay, I'll give you some.
Okay.
Is exposing yourself.
Oh.
Reaching down deep and exposing yourself. Everybody, you asked some questions earlier, and people, Joe Golightly answered it wonderfully. Everyone writes differently, right? I get an idea in my head, and I start noodling. I'm a noodler too on guitar, and
Yeah.
but what I've learned over the years, and a lot of us keep doing it. In spite of my facetiousness, don't give up. You keep doing it, and you're gonna write some really bad songs. I've written some really bad. I ought to do an album, my worst hits ever. You know, uh, you're gonna do that, but you gotta keep writing. And the biggest advice I can give is you have to expose yourself. Don't just write all the stuff and be clicheous and have a wonderful day. Jesus is the way. It's been done. Reach down, reach down, reach down, and learn from other songwriters. Listen to people who write music you like and learn from them. Some of my inspirations: Mark Hurd, Bruce Coburn. Oh my goodness, Bill Maloney, and these are people as old as I am, and some aren't even around anymore. Sean Colvin. I could just go on and on the list. John Lennon, Paul McCartney. I mean, but pull it out from yourself. You have to expose yourself a little bit, to what Jesus has done for you and who you really are. It's not easy. It's tough.
It is indeed. I could just imagine. I could just imagine the album to come out of this. The B-side tracks of Sam Bowen. Yes, the songs that didn't make the cuts.
I won't even say.
Oh. Well, speaking.
Believe me, it's not fun. Did I write that? Ooh.
Well,
Oh boy.
speaking of songs that did make the cut, is there another one that did make the cut over the years that you're here to share with us right now currently?
This one is off my album "Speak to Me," which I did. I think it was 2007, and this album wound up being number 7 out of uh, the top 10 independently released CDs in Massachusetts and Connecticut, I believe,
Wow.
from as listed by Limelight magazine, and recorded at Abraham's Closet, and it came out really good, and it was it was recorded in 2007 and made that list. I think it was like 2011 or something. As bizarre as it is, but this song is called Katie. Excuse me. And this is about well, I have 4 children, and they're all in their 30s now, and they're all adults. They're not children anymore. But this one I wrote when Katie was about 7 years old. And my daughter Katie, it was this little girl full of energy with long blonde hair down behind her knees. Joe, she was really a giant tuft of hair with a little girl attached. That's who Katie was. And Katie, I was watching her play one day outside in the yard, running around. And the verse came to me about, if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must be as one of these, right? You know that verse, Joe.
Oh, yep, yep.
And so this is a song. You'll get it when you hear the song. It's called Katie. Here we go.
Sam Bowen here on Red's Room.
Long time since I wrote this. Okay. There she is, playing in the backyard, inspired by everything she sees. The leaves on the trees, the breeze in her hair. She's the truth we once knew, but left behind. Katie, Katie, you're the Father's desire. Katie, Katie, the angels are watching you tonight. She sees me coming and abandons all to jump in my arms. She trusts she won't fall. Perfect love that knows no boundaries, with the Father's unseen hand always standing by. Katie, Katie, you're the Father's desire. Katie, Katie, the angels are watching you tonight. They sat as they waited for the teacher to speak, hoping for the answers only he could give. When the children came to see him, they would not let them greet him. So he said what none expected him to say: don't keep these little ones from me. The answers you're looking for are in each one of these. The kingdom of God you seek has been playing at your feet. Don't keep these little ones from me. Don't keep these little ones from me. Katie, Katie, you're the Father's desire. Katie, oh, Katie, the angels are watching you. The angels are watching you. The angels are watching you tonight. Oh, Katie. Oh, Katie. Oh, Katie. Oh, Katie.
Yes, Katie, right here on the Reds Room Saturday East Coast event. Now, have other Katies, and I think you know which one I'm talking about in the Northeast area. Have they heard that song yet? Do they know that what exists?
I'll tell you, I sang that song in Ireland, and we
Did
played
you?
we when I toured Ireland, we played a youth event of 200 Irish teenagers. And we did the whole event, and it was great, and the kids had a great time, and we did our thing, and I played that song. And while I was singing the song, all of a sudden, way in the back, people started pointing and clapping and clapping and pointing. Didn't really know what was going on, but we finished the song, and afterwards, people came up. There was a little girl from the neighborhood there who, and this was an outreach ministry of a church, and this was a girl from a very troubled family, and she was weeping and crying because her name was Katie, and she felt like I was saying that song to her, which was really touching.
So good.
So
Sam has got a plethora of stories. That's why we love it when he performs at the mill or just comes on here, because he's got 40 years worth of just great stories in music. Before we find out what your final song of the night is there any like personal favorite or favorite artists that you've had a chance to tour with or just have the pleasure of writing or collaborating with over the years?
all of them, really. I mean, the people I've had a chance. Mitch McVicker is just one of the nicest guys, and I don't know if you recognize his name, but he tours like 300 shows a year. He's been touring for years, and he was with
Yeah.
he was with Rich Mullins for years. Rich Mullins' best friend, and wrote a bunch of songs with him. In fact, Mitch got a Dove Award for "My Redeemer." I think that was the name of the song. And Rich was actually in an accident with Rich and Mitch together, and Mitch spent a year in the hospital. And his testimony is incredible. But he's just a nice guy, and he's a great. You talk about those people who can pull words from deep within their soul. Mitch is one of them. I mentioned Mark Hurd. I never worked with him. I met him once or twice, but he just moves me. I work with just, working with, doing a show with Mike Sweet and doing, just things like that. But collaboration like Glenn Hillard, you got to get Glenn Hillard, and he's the ragtime gospel man of New England. And he and I are collaborating.
Yeah.
And he's a ragtime piano player and just has some incredible songs. Rich O'Reilly, man, sent me one of his songs. He's recording a new album. He asked me to play on it. I'm very excited to be able to play on one of Rich's albums. So I've got to, I got to learn his song and come up with a good guitar part for it. collaborations, others. There's been lots of others. Kat Stewart, incredible vocalist. She has that ability. If you need a backup singer, folks, I know you're doing albums out there, and in studio work, you want someone to come in and bang out that vocal and do it well. That's Kat Stewart. Too many
Hmm.
people. Raging Grace. Well, they, as far as I'm concerned, they were, and this is just my humble opinion, but they actually just disbanded last year, but they were the finest New England blues band. If you haven't heard their stuff, pick it up. Kimberly Hodgins Smith of Blue Cat Groove, the band I was with for 8 years, blues band, incredible singer. I could just go on, Joe. I'm trying to remember others. Um, just,
Uh,
just it's been a
it's
trip, man. It's been a trip, and they're all good. They're all good.
I
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You've just been just collaborated and toured with just a who's who of musicians in around the country and around the globe, and we're so thankful for everything you do for the kingdom. We're so thankful for your expertise and being here with us. You have one more song to close us out here tonight on Res Room before we say goodnight to Facebook. What would that number be there, good sir?
Yeah, this is going on. I'm recording this one. I don't know if it'll be on the Christmas album, though. Really, although it's not a Christmas song, it's quite apropos. But I'm going to record it. This is a cover. I've known about this song for over 30 years. I've always loved it, but could never grab a hold of the rhythm that fit me. And it was written by Paul Stuckey. You remember Paul Stuckey, Peter, Paul, and Mary, right? His first name's actually Noel Stuckey, and he did a couple outright slamming Christian albums back in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s. And he lives actually in Bar Harbor, Maine. And, I was going to say, if you went to Abraham's Closet and you stepped over the pizza boxes, it's okay. That's how a good studio creates. Because I've been in Paul Stuckey's studio in Bar Harbor, and it's dusty and there's gold records on the floor and there's garbage everywhere. But you do your best creating when that happens. So, he wrote this song, Paul Stuckey, and it's a beautiful song. And I think it's kind of been shuffled to the discount heap. So I wanted to revise it. I've changed the music a little bit, but I think it speaks today to where we are in this country and most of all the grace of God in our lives, just as relevant than when it was written over 30 years ago. It's called Be Ye Glad. You ready? Excuse me. Okay. In these days of confused situations, in these nights of restless remorse, when the heart and the soul of a nation lay wounded and cold as a corpse, from the grave of the innocent Adam comes a song bringing joy to the sad. All your cries have been heard, and the ransom has been paid up in full. Be ye glad. Be ye glad. Whoa, be ye glad. Every debt that you ever had has been up in full by the grace of the Lord. Be glad, be glad, be glad. So be like lights on the rim of the water, giving hope in a storm sea of night. Be a refuge in this slaughter of these fugitives in their flight. For you are timeless and part of a puzzle, and you are winsome and young as a lad. And there's no disease or struggle that can pull you from God. Be glad, be ye glad, oh, be glad. Every debt that we ever had has been paid up in full by the grace of the Lord. Be glad, be glad, be glad, be glad, oh, be glad. Every debt that you ever had has been paid up in full by the grace of the Lord. Be glad, be glad, be glad. Every debt has been paid by the grace of the Lord. Be glad, be glad, be glad.
Hey, that's a very appropriate song for this season. Sam Bowen and Be Glad. Tell our viewers where we can connect up with you to find out more about your music and just follow up with you to see what's coming down the road for you next.
Sure. Facebook at Sam Bowen and the All Nighters. That's the band page. Lots of information there. Please go to Sam Bowen and the All Nighters. Give me a like because we're musicians. We get lonely. And every time a like comes up, we're like, oh, that's so good. Somebody likes me. And
So,
that is available everywhere where fine music is sold, digital, and the Amazon carries all the albums. There's 3 of them out there, and there's another 3 with the band Blue Cat Groove that I played with. Blue Cat Groove was a great blues band, and we did 3 albums there. You punch in Sam Bowen music, Google, all sorts of things. Maybe even a few things that I wish wasn't out there. Who knows? Those other songs I was talking about earlier.
yes.
So yes, so Facebook and that's I don't tweet. I'm too old to tweet, man. I just don't tweet. Twitter, and I don't do Instagram. People, you gotta be on Instagram. I said, no. I have a hard enough time navigating what I'm doing here, I'm
Sometimes
out
there's
there. I'm out there. I don't know.
sometimes I feel like I need a social media manager or something with this because there's almost like not enough time in the day with the page and the group and then Facebook and YouTube that I manage. Just like adding more. It's just like, where do I find the time? And I just finally started using. It's been sitting there for a while. I finally started using the old Instagram more, but I have a Twitter, but you're
I,
right. I haven't tweeted there in ages,
I consult with
probably.
all sorts of artists, and they ask me, what should I do in my career? And I tell them, you got to get on all the platforms. As a consultant, I tell them, you must get on the platforms because I'm talking to people, But if you're over 60 like me, then, what the heck?
You're like, what difference does it make at that point, you know?
Joe, I want to thank you, Joseph, because you again, you take people's music and people who may not have a chance to get their voices heard, who are as good and many times better of national artists. Um, you able to understand this internet stuff and get it out there, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime, and it's always great to partner with Red. Red and I are kind of the dynamic duo of double
Yeah,
trouble here, both of us here. But it is an honor and a
you and Red are like,
it
yeah,
is
you and Red
it.
are like you're like DC Comics, or Iron Man and Red,
Iron, Iron Man in Red. Red doesn't need a superhero nickname there. Yes, it's always great featuring artists like the ones that we've heard tonight, Yvonne and Joseph and Abigail, and and yourself. It's just great having you with us, Sam. Thank you for your years of experience, your years of service to the music community, and to the Lord. And much continued success to you as you continue to lay down tracks, as it were, and put down great music that we all could use to hear this time throughout our country and our world. So it's been awesome. It's been great having you with us here, Sam, tonight.
Thank you so much, everybody in the great town out there. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. God bless us each one. I hope you get what you really, really need more than what you really, really want.
Good reminders there. Sam Bowen here with us, rounding out another night here on Red's Room. And